What's up, everybody on YouTube? My name is Striker, and if you don't know me already, you soon will. Today, I'm going to be talking about the new Demon Hunter PTR 2.1.2. The Demon Hunter feel is completely different from what some of us are used to, dropping down the turrets and just letting them do the work for us. The build has now become more personalized, where we actually have to engage in the build. Our turrets will only shoot when we shoot. So for example, if I shoot elemental arrow, as I'm doing right now in the video, my turrets will shoot elemental arrow. If I shoot cluster arrow, they shoot cluster arrow. The build I'm running right now is a cold Demon Hunter build. I wanted to test this build out first before I did a fire build. It worked out great the first time. You know, I tried a 38 to kind of get a feel for the new Demon Hunter, and I did okay. And then I jumped straight into a 40 and beat it. So it's not difficult as long as you know how to play the Demon Hunter. That was my first character, so it really wasn't hard to get used to it and play it. You know, the stuff in my build that I'm using is Mark for Death, Valley of Death, Vaults, Tumble. You know, of course, the companion, I'm using a Wolf, but I don't think that should matter with the Marauder set. My turrets, I'm using the Spitfire turrets and not Polar, even though it's a cold build. I wanted to keep the rockets because I'm using that passive ballistics just to get the extra damage for the rockets. And the Frost Arrow and Maelstrom Cluster Arrow. What the fuck? Whose kid is that? Who let the baby out? Somebody needs to take control of their frickin' child. Where the hell did that come from? Anyway, where was I? So yeah, you basically, in this build, we still want to play on the offensive side. Basically non-stop shooting. I mean, you can shoot a wall and your turrets will still be shooting. So the concept of just dropping the turrets and shooting them is still there. You do want to make sure you're alive, obviously. So shoot at the monsters if you can, but if you need to kind of get into a safe spot, and just as long as you're shooting, your turrets will shoot. Of course, I drop the Mark for Death where I can to get that extra 20% damage. Let's see, it is tougher. This build is a lot tougher. People say it's a nerf. I don't necessarily feel it's a nerf, because not only do the monsters do a little bit less damage towards us, but it feels like we do a whole lot more damage, especially for us on the Demon Hunter. When I got to the Rift Guardian, I mean, I killed him pretty quickly, and you know, there's probably many builds out there that we're still going to be discovering for the absolute best fit for our Demon Hunters, so don't be discouraged. One thing I really do like is the new ancient items that have come out. First thing some of you guys might want to do when you test this thing out is go make some Reaper wraps, and just make a ton of Reaper wraps and try to get the ancient ones. If you get fire or cold, keep them. I know that we're not going to be able to keep our items once PTR is done, but test things out. Check it out, because once it's ready and you know what you want when this thing is out, it's going to make everybody's life easier to get on the leaderboard who does play on the Demon Hunter, who do play on the Demon Hunter. There's not much really to talk about on this Demon Hunter, except same concept, except the fact that we got to keep shooting. So anybody who is used to that lightning build, with the whole meticulous bolts quiver and the hell trapper and stuff, the build is really not too much different, I don't think. I mean, these turrets are not based off of attack speed anymore, so we dropped the Tasker and Theo gloves and wore the full Marauder set. You know, I'm still working out, trying to figure out how the whole attack speed is factored into all these builds, but we no longer need those TNTs, it doesn't seem. As far as legendary gems, I mean, for this build, it's nothing has changed really. I'm using Bane of the Trapped, Bane of the Powerful, and the Z-Stone of Vengeance. I'm not certain if Enforcer's still needed, but I'm keeping it on the list. Another cool thing about this PTR is you can revive where you've died. So as you saw earlier, wherever you die, instead of having to run from the beginning of the map, you can just revive right at the spot, but every death adds up 5 seconds. I talked a bit about this in my last video on the Barbarian, getting on the 40, doing a level 40 Greater Rift and successfully beating it. I died and showed you guys. In this video, I think luckily I only got to die once. Every death it adds the 5 seconds on up to 30 seconds. It doesn't exceed the 30 seconds. Pylons are horrible. As you see, there's a conduit right up ahead, but they're not even really worth touching. They suck. They can't even kill regular white mobs. I mean, the hell? Seriously, someone needs to take control of the goddamn baby.
Screw you, Blizzard, you screwed
Where the heck does this baby come from? Seriously, that is just the best form of birth control, period. Having a little kid. Just on the loose, always being annoying. Oh, man. Anyway, little kids. Say what they want when they want. You know, guys, just stay at it. Just stay on the defensive side as well as doing some offense. Just throw your mark for death on the ground where the crowds are at. Keep on moving, you know, and don't get too far ahead of yourself, because getting too far ahead into crowds, we're still squishy on the Demon Hunter. The monsters may not be able to do as much damage to us, but you still want to play defensive. You want to move back. I always try to I move forward, but if it's too dense, kind of move back. Drop your turrets and your mark for death in the dense areas, but kind of stay back and keep shooting. That is what I've done in this whole video. Take note of that. You know, just like I said, look, I just drop a turret down right here. I back up, I keep shooting. My turrets are still shooting right inside of that dense mob. You keep doing it. You know, your timer moves forward, and then you creep forward. And do the same thing. Drop your turrets, kind of back up, keep shooting. Therefore, you can survive a lot better. I can't stress enough how this build is really fully dependent on our hatred. Our hatred needs to always be up. I mean, doesn't necessarily have to be full, but just enough for you to just be able to constantly keep shooting Cluster Arrow. Cluster Arrow is our strongest attack, for the build that I'm using at least. And again, there might be other builds that will be later created that may far exceed what is currently being tested right now. But for this build and for this video's purposes only, I'm dependent on Cluster Arrow. Cluster Arrow is my bread and butter. It is the strongest hitting attack. Elemental Arrow, since I'm using kridershot, is generating my hatred for me. So when I do not have enough hatred to either drop my turrets or use my Cluster Arrow, I'm having to use Elemental Arrow. But Elemental Arrow is not that bad, actually. It's really nice because the effect of Frost Arrow, the arrows will split off and, you know, branch out to multiple different arrows hitting other monsters, and that's great too because that's more damage. And so the key thing is obviously in a rift is to kill monsters, move forward, get that time going. So I think the Elemental Arrow Cluster Arrow combination is great as long as you've got the kridershot. However, you know, some of you might be asking, well, I don't have a kridershot. I've never even come across a kridershot. But that's okay. We have those primary skills such as Evasive Fire or Bolas that can give us generation of hatred. If I remember Evasive Fire, Focus the Rune can now generate 7 hatred for you. And that's great because that's more than what I'm getting. I'm only getting 4 with Elemental Arrow and the kridershot combo. Okay guys, to wrap up this video, I'm going to talk about one last thing, which are the ancient items that are coming out in this new patch. I believe these ancient items are going to take over most of the items we get. I mean, for example, I created some Reaper wraps until I got the ancient Reaper wraps, and yes, you can get ancient items from also creating your own legendaries through the smither. So I created these ancient Reaper wraps, and you know, they can give you, I believe, about 150 more dexterity and vitality, which, you know, any little bit that you can get extra from strength, dexterity, intelligence on your gear, it's going to make your character overall better. You know, every little bit of damage is going to help you. So start searching for those ancient legendaries and start being on the lookout for them. I mean, my kridershot that I have now, I mean, I'm going to start looking for an ancient one in any type of ancient bow, but I'm not going to narrow myself down to just certain bows. Look for everything. If it looks good, keep it. Hang on to it. Well, guys, I believe that concludes this video. If you liked it, please give me the like, subscribe to me, comment below if you'd like to help me engage in new builds that I could maybe create a video on, or maybe builds you guys are aware of. Things that could help any of us in this community get stronger and better at the game. Thank you guys so much. Again, it was Striker. Have a good one.
Bye bye, everybody. Bye.